Oh, bears.
Oh. Nope.
Okay, they're gone.
No, I think it was just gas.
Oh, that wasn't a bear. It was just a fart.
Yeah, just a fart.
Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Solitos tuo, usulcarum, ungularum, delectatque contremescit me. Intra, intro.
And we're
back to 13th Elm.
Welcome
That's
to
right.
the Blair Witch Project episode. We're out in the woods.
We
What
watched
the
it in
fuck,
the
guys?
woods.
You gotta keep going.
We watch it in the
You gotta do it
woods.
slower. You can't just fucking. We gotta.
Okay,
Because we're all trying to get that
we're
word.
trying to get what?
No, what are we Are we saying a script? Are we saying the same
No,
thing?
It's like improv,
No.
but at the same time. So you can't talk that fast. That's all I'm
Look, this
saying.
is what's gonna this is what's gonna happen. We're out here in the woods.
Welcome.
It's not planned out. All right, do it again.
Count down.
3, 2, 1.
Well, welcome back to 13th and Elm. This is the Blair Witch Project episode. We're out in the woods, cold, alone, scared, in the dark, by a fire.
Fire.
That's right, guys. We're camping.
It's 13th and Elm,
You know it. It's me, Bill.
It's Rob.
and it's the other guy, which is me,
Throat.
Michael.
So, I'm just sitting around the fire.
Swapping war stories, drinking whatever.
Out of tin cups and
Will you give me some more, actually?
yeah.
Yeah, hold on, let me
Which one?
get that fire.
Did you want the?
Yeah, that one. Ooh. That's good marshmallow.
Yeah.
He's been sucking them down like nobody's business.
Yeah, well, that's what you do to stay warm. That little bit of that whiskey blanket. you
Whiskey
know?
blanket.
I
got
don't
scotch.
have one of those. Are
you cold?
myself. Yeah, I'm pretty fucking cold, actually.
Well, you look
So,
warm and hot.
Could you throw a log actually on the fire?
Yeah, it's
Bill,
a-
since
yep.
you're right there.
Yeah, hold on.
But okay, so we watched 13th. No, we are 13th and Elm. But you watched. We watched. Fuck. What did we watch? We're
Blair
out in the
Witch
woods.
Project.
The Blair Witch Project.
that's so far.
We
Thank you, sir.
we watched Blair Witch Project, and Rob, you'd never seen it.
No, actually I hadn't.
So
First watch.
Easy.
watching it in the woods is good.
It was intense.
Was that as good as it gets?
I don't know. It was the first time watch. I don't know if that's as good as it gets. I guess we'll watch it again, like at home
That's
Or
fair.
somebody else's
Compare
home.
the two.
or someone else's home, or just indoors, which
Indoors. Do you remember that?
I do. It hasn't been that long, but yeah, I remember.
Feels like it's been a long
I
time.
feel like it's been years.
Since I've watched this movie,
You grew a beard.
I grew up. Yeah.
When did you see this movie first?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I don't know, but like I've seen this movie a decent amount of times. I own it. But I haven't
VHS?
seen it in a long time. Yeah, and I was gonna watch it on VHS, but I
But we were in the
couldn't
woods.
because we're in the woods. But fuck, like I was like, oh yeah, I'll just kind of do shit, watch this and not pay attention to it.
Right.
Did you see it like close to when it was released, like in '99, 2000?
I did. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I remember
like
this
3.
coming out, like
Oh yeah,
the
I get
hype.
you.
I remember like all of the shit going down, like, oh my god, the Blair Witch Project, is it real? Like, it's a real movie. These kids, blah blah blah. This is like
They're
pre-big
missing.
internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this debuted at Sundance January 23rd, 1999. And yeah, so well, no, just watch your feet in the fire.
Oh, ooh, fuck.
But anyway, so
You're
this
gonna melt
movie
those boots,
was a
man.
big deal, and it had a huge marketing and advertisement campaign behind it. It was a talk of the town, and the town was the world.
The town was Burgettsville.
The town was Burkittsville, as we'll get into. But yeah, man, this thing was it was like $300,000 budget, made like
60,000.
250
$60,000
million.
budget.
That's insane.
Yeah. John Travolta called it.
I mean, this is one of those have to watch, like have seen. This is one of those horror movies that you've seen even if you're not into the horror. Like I feel like it's that for a lot of people. Like, oh, I don't
It was
like
such a big
horror,
deal.
but I've seen the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, this, The
It's
Shining.
One of those,
Yeah,
And-
but it's not one of those because as we get further and further away from it, this is not. Well, I don't know. Rob will be the best judge of this because
You're right.
we're jaded, but like, it doesn't hold its same gravity that it did upon release, and like it takes a
Yeah.
certain audience to be appreciative of that now, especially with such more modern visitations to the genre, such as like Paranormal Activity. Like there's been updates that are for a younger audience. I think that like most people wouldn't come across this unless they sought it out today. It's not something that's gonna be replaying on cable TV, and that shit doesn't even exist. Like, if
Right.
you went out of your way to stream this out of the thousands and thousands of titles that you had seen, and then you got 5 minutes into it, if you had no reason to stick around and you weren't seeking it out, I don't know how many audiences today would care to watch it. And I don't want to say they don't get it, but like it was a smash sensation at the
Yeah,
time, and that's
phenomenon.
why people were
Yeah.
watching it. It
I
took
mean-
over the nation, word of mouth. It was still water cooler days. You know what I mean? It wasn't everybody's opinion broadcast on social media. You heard it because somebody that you knew saw it, and then you had to go see it.
And this shit was scary.
Honestly, it's still. This movie is a flood of nostalgia for me. It's another one that I've seen a bunch. It's actually one of the milestones in my horror movie fandom and like my journey along this whole thing that has evolved into obsession and a podcast and a bonding mechanism with friends. Like a lot of it I have to look back and see origins with the Blair Witch Project. I love this movie, and watching it I still think it's actually fucking terrifying because the woods is always scary. Dark is always scary.
Yeah,
look
primal
around.
fears.
Yeah.
Fears. Like, and a lot of it is like, okay, so much with any horror movie, it's always scarier before you see the creature, right? Because your mind can always imagine something
scariest
far
thing for you.
scarier.
That's why low
exactly.
budget works. That's why this type of thing works when it's done well. Did you think it was done well?
We'll get into it. I think it was done pretty well, and I know this isn't like the first found footage film or even like the first big found footage film. I feel like Cannibal Holocaust was
Yeah,
kind
that
of
wasn't
like that.
getting necessarily like Jay Leno and shit talking
Yeah,
about it
no,
in
no,
like
of course.
national theaters. But yeah, I mean, but
It's
like
not
Cannibal
like
Holocaust
mega
was
obscure
also
or anything.
known
Yeah.
because it was in the news for being what it was. You know, it wasn't like unheard of.
But I also read that the following year that the hunting season like in Maryland was so terrible because there's so many people out there like doing copycat documentary style like
Videos.
Blair Witch videos. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that they had to hire like extra security for the town after the premiere, just because so many people were coming up to see it before folks knew it was like fake and cooked up.
Right. I think, and Michael shares this with me too, I think, is that we have both seen it at young enough ages that we watch it now and we're just immediately taken back to there where it is still like fucking scary, like it, because I feel like it is still for me too. And I'm just really curious because I would love to know what it was like to watch for the first time.
And knowing
now,
that it's like spoiled and being an adult. And
So,
like, you know what I mean? There's so much distance between you and
Exactly.
the
There's so much pop culture. There's so much parody. I mean, we watched a Scooby-Doo parody of this before this trip.
Yeah, that was
like,
good.
Yeah, we've seen it in Scary
This is
Movie.
in
We've seen it
popular
in
media.
magazine. you know
Of
what I
course, but given all of that, and I'd even say like there are other movies that aren't horror, like Star Wars is like that for me. Like I knew the quotes, I knew the plot before watching it.
Yeah.
This is still a pretty good movie, and I'm not a huge found footage fan. I don't dislike them. I'm just not crazy about the genre. A lot of this too, you could tell it's pretty genuine reactions. Like some of the stuff that's some of the arguments that are having. Like I feel like a lot of what's going on in the hotel room was, and then like reading after like trivia and kind of what happened to them and how the film crew gave them notes for the day and that sort of thing, and like kind of kept up with them, but went around.
But also, like, there's had moments of like genuine like investigatory journalism, right? Like, not necessarily, but like to the degree that they were actually asking questions to real people who were giving them their answers of, this is a story that it kind of surrounds our town. Like, if you believe in that, like there were factual accounts in the film.
There were, but those were actually all planted by the filmmakers.
All of them?
No,
I think it's just some of them.
all of them. Like, it's not
I
it's
thought it
not
was just
real.
some.
The Blair Witch was made because it was with the dad and the fisherman, like, that are like later on, right before they actually go camping. It was his daughter's name and also the name of the high school around there. But all of that is completely cooked up. Like, the mythology of the Blair Witch and everything is from the filmmakers. And they didn't tell them at all, and basically allowed them to think that all these townspeople were legit. And they also...
okay, so you're saying that the students didn't know.
The students
Like,
didn't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, that part, like, later on when the map goes missing...
Yeah.
The other two didn't know that, didn't see him get rid of it. He actually did throw it into a river, and he was given instructions to do it by the filmmakers that day, to like when he opened up the envelope. And that was a legit, like, he kept that to himself for hours while they walked along, and then those are like legit reactions to him losing the map or whatever.
Yeah, and that's where this movie like really gets its charm, at least like for me, is that it's got that thing that the only type of movies are movies that have zero budget, and it makes me think of like Tobe Hooper's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where
Stir up that fire.
he like purposely he would like keep the actors Woo! Hold on. Whew.
Yeah, let's scoot back a
That
bit.
smoke is
Yeah, buddy, like, you just don't fight it. Woo! Just don't fight it.
Give it a minute, it'll move.
I mean, also don't just sit there and get wrecked by it, but... As you were saying?
like like in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I think I know what you're going to say, and I
There
totally
was
agree.
like similar things that the actor Tobe Hooper did, that he would like keep the actors separate, and it was like the hottest summer recorded in Texas, and he'd keep them inside, make them all hot, and like genuinely make them
Pissed
hate
off.
each other. So those reactions were real. And
Or
this
like Kubrick
director,
in The Shining, make them do takes like 165 fucking times
Yeah.
until they're just breaking. Like,
and the directors did that for this too. Like they actually got they let them get lost a few times, and they also fed them less and less
Less
food
food
each
every
day,
day.
so they became like more agitated, and did things like with the map where like that was withheld. So like a lot of those reactions, like when they're angry at each other, it's real, and you can feel that. And like same way with like Sally like running through and getting like cut up, and her screams are so visceral and real, because like they are.
I read that they also had them wear eye protection at night running around, so they wouldn't like get punctured in the eye, like running
Yeah.
around in the dark and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
And that they got soaked the first or second night they were there.
you
Because
see
the
it.
tent wasn't waterproof, and so they actually they weren't able to get in contact with the crew. Like their phone wasn't working, and the directions, like where they got lost. They kept walking and went to like some local house and were able to use their phone to then call the director, who picked them up and took them to a motel. And they were able to get like a night of sleep and a warm meal, and then the crew went and got all their shit from the gear and got them a new tent, and then they restarted shooting.
that's wild.
Could you imagine starting that? And
God, I hope it don't rain.
also a lot of these people were volunteers. I think Heather was a volunteer who joined on, and then ended up getting paid for it. But you're like a single woman acting, and there are two men that you're gonna go camping with in the woods, and this found footage. Who knows director? What the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I read that she kept a knife on her because she was scared that it was going to be like a snuff film.
Oh
Or
yeah,
that they were
yeah,
gonna-
yeah.
Yeah,
They're
do
gonna
stuff
kill her.
without her
And all of
consent
this
shit.
stuff
That's how fucking low
translates
budget it was.
so well, and the fact
Yeah.
that they are the ones filming this. You can say whatever you want that it's scripted or blah, 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 but they were left to their own devices to come back with footage. And I know that there's a lot of instructions, but when they have been largely misguided or lied to or like whatever things are going according to plan, and they're left alone out there, and it's
Anxiety.
like, fuck, grab the camcorder. I
Yeah.
guess this is what we're here for, right?
Also, like that time of year, everything's just wet and gray, and like the leaves are falling down, and there's not a lot of color left. It's just depressing.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It paints a perfectly
It's dying.
bleak background for the fucking like, I don't know, man. This movie. Okay, so like, the techniques that you were talking about that are present in like Texas Chainsaw, but also we said like Kubrick does it in Shining and other things. But there's a lot of like inspiration from other classic horror movies I think can be found in this, whether you want to talk about like being a low budget blockbuster like Halloween, or you want to say like it's kind of weird because it's a chamber film in a way, but they're in the woods. It's like such an expansive place, but it's like similar to like Halloween, or not Halloween, but Alien in that way.
They're trapped.
Yeah, they're trapped, and then like they don't know where this predator creature thing is that's stalking them. And then you also see like the erosion of the trust, like the core, like members, protagonist group are beginning to turn their backs on each other, and like that's kind of like that cabin fever type of scenario. You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of really smart horror like story tropes in here, and it's also pretty genuine, and it's all done in an 80-minute low budget type of package that I know why it was a smash then, and I hope that audiences younger or for meeting it for the first time today can get at least a little bit of that excitement, because it's not for my validation, and this made plenty of money. It's not like it needs more of that, but if you can give in, I think it's fucking awesome for the viewer to get fun. And I think that's maybe why it was so much fun out here in the woods, you know, because
it's perfect.
Yeah.
Sets the backdrop, right?
I actually waited for both of you guys to go to bed last night, like, and made sure, like, I waited like a while before I put this on your laptop, Michael, and watched it in the tent, and had the headphones on so I wouldn't wake you guys up. But man,
I wouldn't watch it with you. Yeah,
it freaked me out a little bit,
good,
just a little bit.
Do you think
it was windy and like the tent shaking and just I don't know.
We're at 10,000 feet. It'll get windy when you're outside.
And it is, it's September.
For a few more days, it's still September.
Yeah. Late season camping.
Woo!
Do not advise.
It's chilly.
It's dicey.
Do you think that people getting into horror at a younger age at this time, are they going to be encouraged to watch this, or are they going to watch the remake if they're interested and know the story? Because there was a remake, and I didn't see it.
Anybody that is out there suggesting the remake first.
Yeah.
Although I have talked to, or heard rather, the opinions of a good handful of people in the horror community that say the remake, not the Blair Witch Project 2, Book of Shadows, but the remake. Of course, it will always struggle with the title Blair Witch Project because it's a film. It's not like a found footage. It's a film, and it's kind of like a Halloween 3 syndrome. Like if it just had a different name, if it wasn't associated, like it's a good movie and people can appreciate it, but it's like, why the fuck do you call it the Blair Witch Project?
Yeah.
Okay.
But also,
do you
because
like it?
most of the I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I've heard other people say it. But most of the people who have seen it probably saw it because it was called The Blair
Witch Project.
So,
and there's a sequel and a third film as well?
I don't know if there's a third film. I know that the third film might be that remake.
Got the wiki up?
I have. I'm looking at it. I'm scrolling through now.
Put another log on while you're doing it.
Well, wouldn't somebody else do that?
Pretty warm. If you get a log.
Too warm?
Yeah.
I know. I'll leave it off.
Yeah, downloading the movie offline and also the wiki. That's pretty wise.
That was,
But it was also
good forward thinking.
Kind of hard to find what you need to find.
How much battery do you have left?
Give me. Honestly, after you watched it and then I watched it with Bill.
I've got an external, I think, somewhere.
Hold on, it's...
If you want to hike back 5 miles to the car.
Yeah, I wish the direct sequel, Blair Witch Project.
I don't think I've never heard of a third.
So, yeah, there's 3 movies total, which is the remake included.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this one is a whole lot of fun, and it was incredibly groundbreaking, revolutionary, wildly successful, and it had like a sister like website, the early days of the
I heard
internet and
about
stuff, and yeah, there was spoof. It was in pop culture, media. You were saying, what'd you say about Burkittsville, Maryland? They got made like a sandwich.
Oh yeah, the Burwich sandwich, which was a cheeseburger on a sesame bun with country fried ham, a fried egg, and horseradish.
Yeah, so they were like kind of trying to capitalize on like the tourism, I guess, or like people passing through because of Blair Witch.
I mean, it was, I guess, a pretty small town before, and just the tourism
I think it was
alone.
like 150, 200, like
200
people.
and something, and the actual house is in Granite, Maryland, which is not far from where I'm from, and I was actually supposed to go there, and I couldn't, and I really regret it, and I still might, because you can.
Yeah, you should.
It's just about an hour away from my
Your
childhood
folks
home.
still live up there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was literally like a night that my buddies like hit me up and they're like, "Yo, the fucking Blair Witch house is only like an hour away from here. We're going."
Let's do it.
And I like couldn't for whatever reason. I don't know. I was like in high school or early college.
Yeah.
Um,
School night.
but yeah, shout out.
Shout out to Burkittsville.
Well, yeah, I've never been, but
Yeah. No, that'd be like, honestly, I feel like we were doing a road tour now, and I don't know if we have time to reschedule to the Northeast, but we should just do a tour of like famous haunted houses and
Salem?
stuff. Yeah,
you guys want to go to
Salem?
Salem? We'll go to D.C. and go to the Staircase and the Exorcist.
Yep.
Or we can go up to
that's
Amityville.
not in DC.
Go to Amityville.
It's in like Seattle or something.
Where'd they shoot Misery?
The cow?
No, the movie.
Oh, I don't know.
In a house. I don't know.
I think it was a set.
Vermont?
Probably a set.
Probably New England.
Yeah.
Derry, Maine.
Derry, Maine. Shout out Stephen King.
Stephen
Shout out.
King's
If you're listening,
dude. If Stephen King's listening, honestly, I owe
Why?
you everything. Like you're the best.
But what about the plot? What do you think of the film?
I mean, I've loved this movie. A lot of it is the nostalgia and everything, but it's crazy because we're like talking it up, and you could summarize it accurately by saying it's three teenagers running around in the woods with a camcorder yelling at each other, and that is exactly what it is.
It's so much
You
more
can
than
say that about fucking anything.
It's.
Like,
I mean, it's
you
very.
No, not really though.
Not like
What's
three
Midsommar
kids,
about?
but Midsummer is about fucking 5 kids going to the
Sweden.
Scandinavia and screaming at each other.
Well, no, it's not though, because
But neither
there's
is Blair Witch
so many
Project.
Yes, it is.
It's not though.
They do some interviews and then they're running around in the woods yelling. It is an
It's-
accurate
Then why do you like it so
depiction of
much?
the film. That's what I'm saying, because it's good, and they actually didn't like each other and get along, and they like would get lost and didn't know what they were doing, and it's shaky and grainy, and there's like even a part where one of them is supposed to run out of the tent and hold the camcorder to the left, and there's like a lady dressed in all white in the background. You're supposed to see the witch in the middle of the film, but the actor doesn't even remember. It doesn't even do that. Doesn't even turn the camcorder directed toward the person, and they just kept the shot.
Didn't pan it and they didn't reshoot.
So it's like stuff like that, because that just,
I don't know.
make
like,
it special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of did expect like to see something, like maybe a glimpse of something, and didn't, which I don't know if that's disappointing. It's surprising. But it is a pretty short film. Like, yeah, it's like 81 minutes or 80 minutes or whatever.
I think it's better that I don't know who it was, but whoever it was accidentally didn't get that shot, because I feel like never seeing almost like anything is
it's
what
way
makes
better.
it so scary. Yeah, because
No.
like you said, you think of the scariest thing in your head and put that in there.
For sure. No, definitely. I mean, there's tangible stuff that they show. There's, I don't know, all the stickmen, whatever they're called.
Sure, like the little like whatever, yeah, like totems or
Yeah.
like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're not really totems, but you know.
It's like slime on his backpack. The tent is shook, which
Piles
was
of-
another like unscripted thing that they did and freaked him out.
Right. Yeah. The piles of rocks, they find them,
The
and
cairns,
then one
yeah.
morning they wake up and there's like 3 piles around the tent.
Just Scooby snacks. I'm mixing them up. Yeah. Again, and like a good slow burn. Both of them like getting lost. Walking around all day and then coming back to the same log. Just stuff that is not even supernatural. I mean, like some of it is because like. Where'd the map go? Or like all this stuff. But
yeah, you start to think that
maybe
the evil there is like
there's
fucking up
some
their
forces.
compass, obviously, because that's like their strategy is like we're just gonna go south, and if we go in one direction the whole time, then we have to make it somewhere
Other than here.
right.
But that's exactly
they
where
keep
they end up.
ending up here, and they really do a good job of it. Even though, like you said, it's like vast woods, it still feels constricted.
Right.
Well,
like
they're not
it's like
on a
almost
trail,
claustrophobic, even
really.
though they're out in the open.
And even though Heather keeps like saying she knows exactly where they're at, she knows where they're going.
Yep.
It's not much longer. Which I get to a certain extent that ego, and of course it's a film.
It's her project, so she.
But that is just you're literally taking people's lives in your hands. That's just holy shit.
Yeah, man. So not everybody. In fact, most people aren't cut out to be leaders. Like,
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
not really that surprise. I don't know. It's not a
It's
position I envy,
Yeah.
and I would like to say that I would be more careful in that circumstance. But like, I mean, she's pretty hard to be sympathetic with. Honestly,
Yeah.
all of them are because they're kind of miserable, but you don't see them in the best light. They're
They're at their
upset
worst.
and they're hungry and they're cold and they're wet and they're lost and they're scared and they're running out of food and they got to get to work. And how much of that is real and how much of it is in the story?
Yeah, the
and
story.
like, it doesn't really matter because the performance turned in is pretty genuine by all three characters. It's another one of those things that's like relatively small cast. Like, yes, you get the introduction to all these like tertiary
interviews,
characters in the
yeah.
beginning, the interviews and stuff. But it's a small cast. Mostly it takes place POV from one of the characters at all times, and it is a chamber film also. You know, you kind of get some shots in the city in a hotel, but it's mostly out in the woods, which isn't anything more than whatever tree they're next to and the tent that they're sitting in. And it's dialogue. And like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, this is one of those movies that people are like, oh, it's fucked up. Like, oh my God, that movie like fucked me up. It scared me. It was so gruesome. And it's like, there's nothing in this movie.
Yeah.
There is, whatever that was though, that chunk of whatever is like in a pool of real fucking blood though. Like that was,
Oh yeah. So that was apparently some teeth from one of the
It looked like
director's
teeth.
dentists, and then a mold of one of the actors' mouths, and then real hair from one of the actors.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Because I was.
And she wouldn't open it, and then they like made her go back and open it and shot that.
that's why it was all, yeah.
That's cool.
And see, like, that's the type of thing where it's like, that was actually, like, pretty fucked up because it's like, especially if you're the actors and you don't know and you find that, you're like, dude, this is, like, actually fucking gross. Like, what is this, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's scary. I mean, look around you. You know? There's nobody out to help you or hear you, and like when Mike is screaming help, and like you made the comment, you're like, dude, you gotta like start thinking real seriously about like calorie preservation and like where it is, what's an intellectual use of your energy. If you're really out here lost, you want to sit around and fucking like be constructive, or are you going to shout and scream and yell and throw a temper tantrum until you're fucking tired?
Exhausted.
Yeah.
It's literally why whistles are included in survival packs, because shouting, like, not only no one going to hear you, you're going to be exhausted and hoarse and dehydrated from having your mouth open screaming the whole time. But if you blow a whistle, like, that can be heard for quite a ways. But
Yeah.
man, just so much of it is just the natural world like conspiring against them and their own efforts of being humans and clashing and, you know, stress, which is real. A lot of it's real. It's a good flick, I think.
I'm kind of surprised, but like how much you enjoyed it, because I know you don't like found footage a lot,
Not really.
and I didn't really know. I probably haven't seen this movie in like 8 years or so,
Yeah,
and
same.
I
It's been a while.
didn't know how much I'm looking through like rose-colored lenses and everything else, if I'm a product of the time and nostalgia, or if some of this stuff would actually translate and hold up for a modern audience. And I know that you're not just a casual film viewer, and I know that you have like more than just base level horror movie knowledge and like history like of the genre, so you have an appreciation. It is a movie that you would watch. It's cool that you liked it, but it's also cool to hear that this movie still has value in 2022.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the woods, so that's the place to watch it. It's proper creepy out here. I mean, it's literally you can see stars, can't hear anything but crackle the fire and birds.
Yeah, you can pretend to be as big as bad as you fucking want, but like go walk outside for fucking 300 yards by yourself. Give me your headlamp.
And even that, man. The only thing separating me from whatever's out there is a thin piece of nylon fabric, and you two fucks. So, yeah.
So they've got some boys that run through.
They do, but, I mean, have you seen a bear?
My boys won't hesitate to run up
Have
on
you?
his boys.
Have you seen a witch bear?
Have you seen a switch bear?
I have.
Have you seen the Tony Blair?
The Bear
The
Witch
Tony
Project?
Blair Twink Project?
Have you seen that?
I have.
It's good.
It's really good.
Is it better than this?
No, I don't think so. It's more of a comedy.
Did you? So I'm curious about
Of errors.
the POV of her doing her apology, because that's been parodied so much, and I'm wondering if that was silly for a first-time viewer, because the shot of like up her nose where she's crying and apologizing, because
It was, but also I was expecting it because that's like the
'Cause that's
cover
what you've
on a lot of it, and also
Yeah.
and like you say, a parody that's been done over and over, like overdone.
like the Blair Pimp Project,
Blair
like,
Pimp, yeah, yeah.
The
how
Blair
you had
Thumb
bubbles,
Project.
bubbles in the woods,
yeah,
filming
the
themselves.
Scooby Doo Project, like
Yeah.
all of that. Like I'd seen it before, but it's kind of like
Scary
seeing.
movie.
Honestly, wasn't part of that. Sorry to interrupt. Wasn't part of that at one point used in a 13th and Elm intro?
Yeah,
I'm scared to open my eyes.
Cool.
I'm scared to close my eyes. I'm scared to close my eyes. I'm scared to open my eyes. Here.
I'm gonna
We're
die.
gonna die out here. I think that was in
Which
the 13th.
is such a
Elm.
good line, and I wonder if because I know a lot of it was improvised. Like if she just said that,
That's
good.
fucking bang it.
Pretty
I'm
good.
'Cause
scared
that is
to
a good
close
line.
my eyes. I'm scared to
open
open them.
them.
That's yeah.
And then she like looks around and says, "We're gonna die out here."
It's terrifying.
It's great.
Anyways, go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
But I didn't know the line so much as like I'm so scared sort of stuff. Like I knew like the general feel of it, but it's
Yeah.
like, but again, it's like watching that scene where Vader cuts off his hand and he's like gonna fall off, and it's like, "Join me, I'm your father." It's like you don't know the dialogue, but you know the scene.
Yeah.
So I was expecting it, and then I saw it, and I was like, okay, But I don't know. There's for a film that's so special or a big in like my memory, and I guess in horror of that time period, I felt like it delivered.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. I don't know. I'm
That's
not about
rare.
to go out and like watch it again real soon, because I feel like a lot of it is. You guys have the nostalgia, but like some of it is about like watching it the first time, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about rewatchability for me.
I don't know about rewatchability for me outside of the nostalgia factor. And
Yeah.
that's such an
Yeah.
X factor to me because honestly, if you're an Elmer, if you have heard us talk, wax and wane about this shit, you know we all love horror for different reasons. I mean, I don't think any one of us loves it more or less than the other, but we all have our things, whether it's vampires or gore or whatever. But this, to me, was a huge, huge moment in my, like, holy fuck, this is for me. I love this. It's like this, Stephen King's It, a fucking horrible 1990s, like 1993 movie called Rumpelstiltskin. Like, that just hit me at a perfect fucking time. It was like the first ever horror movie I ever rented. Like, there's just certain things. and-
Anaconda for me.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Exorcist for me.
Oh, Exorcist is great. Or, like, I know you love
That shit scared the
American
shit
Werewolf in
American-
London.
Yeah. That was actually probably before Exorcist.
And so, like, this one for me is one of those ones, but it's also one of the better ones, one of the more fondly remembered ones, one of the ones that people still who were there will talk about, like, holy shit, the first night I remember we went out to the theater and watched it, or they remember back in the day, like, you'd go to the movie video rental place, and you and your buddies would come over and you watch at your house, and it's like fucking terrifying stuff, man.
People were watching this movie and sending letters and flowers to the mother of the actress because they thought it was real. And they hung up the advertisement posters were like wanted posters.
The missing person.
And people were tearing them down and shit, like, which led more people to believe that this shit was real, which this movie, we don't have to get into this because we shouldn't, but like this does have so much in common with Cannibal Holocaust, even though I actually saw an interview with these two directors. I don't remember their names, but they did not see or heard of Cannibal Holocaust, and they were like, if we had seen that movie, we would not have made Blair
this
Witch,
movie,
because they were like, we didn't like. I mean, they were like praising Cannibal Holocaust in that way. They were like, this was like such a good fucking, and they like felt like
dude,
they
Cannibal
subconsciously ripped it off in the way.
We don't talk about this enough. I don't know we've ever really needed to because we haven't done a pod on it. But like, Cannibal Holocaust is so fucking controversial, but it's so fucking good, and it's so far ahead of its time. It's honestly like, holy shit, what a film. And like, not only just like in concept, but also the execution and like some of the practical effects are great. But like, when you put them side by side, the juxtaposition between Blair Witch and Cannibal Holocaust is undeniable.
Oh shit, I gotta check the cobbler.
Yeah, you do. But
it's right here over the fire.
It's undeniable, but like,
I gotta find that shovel or something. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, go get a shovel.
Lid lifter. But this one, I know that the cast, or the crew at least, was saying that they took a lot of inspiration from a film called The Legend of Boggy Creek, which is a 1978 like mock-you drama, not really like found footage, but kind of elements of that. Looking after like a monster in Boggy Creek swamps. It's kind of like a Bigfoot thing.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. There's a Last Drive-In episode on there. Joe Bob kind of goes into it. I actually haven't seen it. It's one of the ones that I want to get to.
Is it on Blair Witch or the
on Boggy Creek, The Legend of Boggy Creek. And so that one is a movie that they did kind of acknowledge that they draw some inspiration from. And it's supposed to be really popular. It's another one of those
familiar
ones of like in the woods, low budget cult movie exploitation type stuff. So, I mean, I'm really pleasantly surprised that Rob
is American?
is enjoying this movie. Legend of Boggy Creek? Yeah. Yeah. We'll watch it sometime.
Yeah.
We should. We have a long list of movies that we want to get to, but
throw it on there.
Yeah, that one's on there, and I don't know. Rob, do you think that just like the camping and being outside element really kind of framed this movie to be more enjoyable for you? You think if you were to watch this movie in the dead of winter after sitting on your couch playing video games for fucking 4 months, you would have felt the same way?
I mean, watching it like pretty close to that season also, like it's fall, sort of. It framed it well. Framed it like a nice
TV.
No, that's not it.
No.
Button a jockstrap. There you go. Woof. Just want to eat it up. But yeah, this, I don't know, the atmosphere, like set and setting is really important for horror, I feel like.
Yeah.
Any movie, but definitely horror.
Definitely. It's an atmospheric exercise. Like, it's all about making... it's kind of like comedy in the way. It's like you got to set up that tension and then deliver the punchline. You know what I mean? You got to deliver the scare, and like with the backdrop and everything, sometimes the atmosphere lines up to where it really resonates with you, and sometimes it misses completely. And I've had experiences where I've watched the same movie with a different attitude and like have been laughing at parts that I've thought previously were like genuinely terrifying, but I wasn't taking them seriously. And also, it's like when you're safe and on your couch and you have the luxury of fucking biting your thumb at like things that you should be afraid of, that's one thing. But like when you're out in the woods and you're like, these little pansies out here afraid of being lost in the woods, and then you have to go take a piss and you're like, I'm scared.
You hear branches snap. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because it looks like a movie when you go over there to pee with your headlamp.
Yeah,
when you're looking
I don't know what the fuck
this
is.
Mentioned
like
that multiple times.
Movie.
You know what I think it is? I think you just might be night blind, Bill.
Either that,
or you have like a cartoonishly large dick. It looks like some sort of prop effect. Like, yeah,
that
like
could be what it
displaces
was.
space time.
Yeah, exactly. Look at this prosthetic.
What time would you say it is right now?
Hold on, Ranger.
No, I think that was just gas.
I thought it was a park ranger. Rob just farted.
That's funny. It smelled like a park ranger.
It smelled like a park ranger.
Yeah, is that Kyle?
Thank you for making burgers. It's delicious.
Oh.
Yep. Well, thank you for making cobbler. I would tell you it's delicious, and I'm sure it will be, but we haven't quite tasted it yet.
It is finishing up.
We're still...
Speaking of finishing up, the house scene, when they get to the house.
The house scene. Oh, yeah.
In the movie that we were talking about.
Well, what about it?
Fuck, it'd be nice to get to a house sometime soon, though. I tell you what.
It's fucking
This
cold
fucking
out
wind
here.
In fact,
Throw
I know
another
I said
log
it
on
said a
the
couple
fire.
times, but throw a fucking another log on the fire
Yeah.
if you don't
Oh,
Bill,
mind.
could you
Go
help
ahead.
your brother out?
Yeah.
I know we're going
What?
through some fuel, but fuck, we'll be able to find some. We can find something. Some. I don't know.
That's
There's dead brush out
There's
here. There's some
I saw a
fucking-
couple of logs. Yeah, just roll them over here.
Anyway, yeah, fucking no, another one though. Like, load it up.
Okay,
Like, whoa,
okay.
If we're gonna finish the pod, let's finish strong. Let's get hot. Let's get fucking bothered, and let's fucking take
Alright,
these
hold-
Elmers home.
Hold on.
All right, the house scene. Yeah, I liked it. It was really creepy with just his screaming and everything. I read that they used like boom boxes of like pre-recorded and just blared it outside the house.
Blared.
Blared
Nice.
it. Yeah.
Of him screaming to like get him to come over to the thing.
hmm
Yeah.
So like I assume they was like they told the actor like, hey, leave, and they took him a day early without or however long without telling the other two, and they're
Yeah.
like, fuck. Yeah.
Josh is gone.
Josh is fucking dead. It was hectic. I don't know. It wasn't like so hectic that it was making me sick to my stomach or anything watching that. Like sometimes with found footage and just jostling around with the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Becomes-
and on the laptop.
It just becomes excessive and to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm over it. Get to the fucking where I can see what's going on again. But I thought the ending was well done. Yeah, I don't know.
They tied in like all
story
the
from the
story
beginning.
that you get really
Yeah.
in the whole movie from the beginning, but yeah, man. So it was cool because like during this time there was also websites about Rustin Parr, the fictitious serial killer that they had kind of like based the legend of the Blair
that
Witch
was his
Project.
house, right?
Yeah, and he was the guy who was
Oh.
like murdering kids, and like there was a whole
Oh, they
bunch
gotta
of
like
things.
turn around the corners. You couldn't look at them and stuff.
Well,
yeah.
dude, there was like a body count, and they had found all the kids that were buried under the stone like fence that had outlined the property line, and like all these little details that obviously were made up for the movie to make up a legend to make a movie. Like,
I wonder
these
how
are
much of the
layers
budget was spent on that, on like that sort of the viral marketing campaign.
Most, dude, I think because
yeah,
like
didn't like the actors believe in the story?
yeah, what the
was
fuck
that?
was that?
Fuck.
We just
That is actually fucking.
we just heard a bang.
Hold on. I'm gonna get my.
What was
hold on,
that?
I'm gonna get my headlamps.
Go check it out.
What the fuck was
Fucking
that
what the
actually?
fuck?
And while you're up, throw another log on the fire. Fuck, it's cold. This is insane.
Something literally just, it sounded like a pop. Like did you ever used to be a shithead and put like a open or an unopened can of soda in the fire?
So, or anything, yeah. Just
Yeah,
something like
and
that.
it would explode. You like
Yeah.
put it in when people weren't watching, and then it would like pop and scare everyone. That was like the noise that we just heard.
Or it was almost even like, I know this is crazy, but it almost sounded like somebody was like on the other side of like a wall banging on it.
No,
Or something, but
that's
you know
not
what I
it
mean?
sounded- Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. That's fucking wild. Rob, what is? Well, it looks like when Rob comes back, he's gonna have cobbler.
a story to tell.
Well, cobbler. Yeah, I don't know, man. We're out here. We're eating fucking smash burgers and Gorp beef jerky, PB and J's.
Whiskey.
I'm burning fucking eggs, and you're spilling scotch. I think there's been a lot of fucking edibles, and even
Rob ripped his pants.
Rob fucking ripped his pants. Rob fell over and ripped his pants.
We can talk about this because he's not here.
Yeah, you're allowed to talk about him because he ain't got no pants. I don't know.
How did he rip his pants? Was he dancing? I don't
No,
know.
he was sitting down in a fucking chair with all four legs flat on the
He
ground.
fell off.
Then he fell over. Yeah. But
We've all been there.
we've all been there. Yeah. He's lucky he didn't fucking fall in that fire, though. Obviously, we wouldn't have let that happen. We were all
Put
just
another-
playing around.
Put another log on there.
I don't know, man. How long are we gonna be up? Because I want another log on there, but also somebody's got to tend this thing down to ashes, and it's fucking getting late.
What time is it?
I don't know. Fuck, I have no.
8:30.
Well, we got to be quiet at 10, and there's a limited amount of fuel. This is making for a great pod. Oh man! Ooh, little fucking.
Oh,
Ooh, this is hot.
what was that noise?
Yeah, what was that noise?
Rob is back. He did bring the cobbler.
Yeah,
That was
and
an
I'm gonna
effective
probably
good
Oh, yeah.
eat some of this while you talk.
Well, I think it was
My
a
fucking
deer.
microphone's off.
I didn't see, but it looked like a deer.
A deer?
A deer.
That's better than a
Is
lot
it a
of
deer
other
or a bear?
things it could have been.
that's pretty
A deer. Oh dear.
A doe, a deer, a female deer. What?
A ray.
A
Ray
whoa, a
of Drop
weir, a
Golden Sun.
female veer.
Oh, the deer in the weir. Yeah. No, legit. Like it was either a deer or
I almost got
like
my
a
gun.
raccoon or something small.
Yeah,
It's
a raccoon and a deer are similar sized.
I hear. Yeah. You seen? one of
Have you
them?
seen those alpine coons? They're fucking big, dude.
They're fucking big.
Cobbler.
Fuck, this is pretty good. You just put this in a Dutch oven and
Throw it on the fire.
butter tabs on top. You don't even mix that fucking cake mix up, do you?
You don't mix nothing. It's part of the cobbler.
God, I love being just. There's something about being outside.
Yeah.
You know, with you two,
Food tastes better.
Food tastes better.
Dick gets harder.
movies
Movies
are.
get scarier,
Wind cuts colder.
especially since you watched it when we were asleep.
Yeah. I know.
To be honest, I probably didn't even.
Why was it
I
necessary?
probably wasn't even asleep. I was probably just laying there in fucking silence, assuming everybody else was asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My eyes closed because I had my sleeping bag over my face because it's fucking cold out here and this wind was obnoxious. So you were probably just sitting next to me. I didn't see the light because I had the sleeping bag over my face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything because you had headphones in.
I'm on the other side, just getting pounded by the side of
By
the
Ro-
tent.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, well, there were a couple of tents
couldn't
inside
see
that
shit.
tent.
I pitched the tent in there.
Yeah.
I will again tonight.
Yeah. I
Which
tell you what.
honestly, good for you. Also, just shout out to all our sponsors: Marmot, Columbia, Billabong, Smart Wool,
Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker, Buffalo Trace, Topo Chico,
KY.
KY, Bonanza,
K-pop.
K-pop,
Black Diamond.
and Black Diamond. And yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
We
Thank
couldn't
you.
have been out here on the road without you.
Well, we could have. We definitely could have done it for cheaper if you guys had really sponsored us. It's just giving these mail-in rebates, which I feel like is kind of a cop-out. But
Fucking Waffle House.
What the fuck?
regardless, oh man, this cobbler,
Fuck.
right?
You know, ice cream would have went well with this, but how are you gonna keep it cold? Fucking leave it outside. God damn.
Cooler, honestly.
It's about what the
Fuck.
fuck are you talking about? Not near this fire.
No, not near this fire.
This fire.
Not no,
Warm
sir, not
down.
near this fire.
Woohoo!
So,
I can't wait to have runny eggs and lukewarm coffee in the morning.
Oh,
like,
that's
yeah,
smoke again.
The shit
Really
gets so cold. It's not
coarsely
even. I
ground.
boiled the fucking water, but then it's like in the cup
Al
when you're
dente.
outside in 24-degree wind.
it
like
just
it's
cools
cold.
down immediately. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about it.
Like an insulated ceramic mug.
Like a double wall boy.
Yep.
Dude, I need a little double wall boy that I can take down to the river that fucking fill up with that cold shit because, like, that's some of the coldest water I've ever touched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to filter it so I can
Drink
drink
it?
it like a fucking water boy. You know, at that time, Bobby Boucher came back at halftime. Let the fuck back to winter ball.
I know I want to fill up a double wall boy.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're losing fucking
Daylight,
Daylight.
moonlight, starlight.
yeah. Your eyes are glowing in the dark.
What, Rob's? Because his
Yeah.
headlamp is so fucking bright?
It looks
It's
like
not
the
that
thing.
bright.
Looks
I
like
turned
the
it down.
cover of the thing, looking at you. It's just a globe of light instead of your head.
You and I
It's
dancing in the
crazy.
moonlight.
Feeling all right.
So bright.
Ooh.
But
We
yeah,
were going to bring
can-
Tony out with us, but we didn't.
We did bring Cher though.
We didn't, thank God.
There was a screech cat. I don't know. You guys, what else do you have to say about this movie? A lot, a little. How much do we need to say about this movie?
Yeah, I mean, like we said,
How long are we on the fucking podcast? What time?
about 50 minutes, if I had to guess.
Cool. So not much left to say.
All right.
I mean,
like we said, like, this isn't plot heavy. I mean, it's
character driven.
no budget, low budget, whatever you want to call it. It's character driven. It's very much driven by the actions that the
Dialogue
characters
and, yeah.
And also
choose
you-
to take. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was done.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I got you.
Go ahead.
I got you. This, you know what this does remind me of, or I guess what would remind you of, The Witch, I guess, in some ways.
Yeah. I mean, it's
just-
definitely.
I don't know. Not in any particular way, just sort of like the cabin fever, the slow burn.
I mean, the witch is in the woods, in
with,
the
like,
witch, and there's
natural
that
light,
same,
color palette.
Yeah.
They
set.
both have the word witch in the title.
There's also like a lot of just not being seen and like just tension and anxiety of like being in the woods and hearing things on the roof and like,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of shit.
And the witch sort of being like a siren, like you're just like drawn to it.
That's kind of
But,
sexy.
It's
Yeah.
sexy.
Overall, for a first watch, like for such a big name, like held up, I think.
Damn,
So-
that's awesome to hear.
I'm glad.
Well, shit, boys. Go ahead and get in. Let's do some ratings. Let's talk about what we got coming up.
Coming up next.
Ratings and cravings.
You know,
And then, yeah, let's wrap this up and send it home.
yeah, 1999 Blair Witch. People call it one of the first found footage. It's not really, but it is really good. No money, no problem, is what I say. And that's what the director said, because they did a really good job at making these kids irritated at each other and give really good performances. And it's real and it's visceral, and there's not a lot of jump scares or anything. It preys off of, like we said, natural fears of getting lost and turning on each other and something going missing. And then a nice little bow at the end. We get the person standing in the corner for the climax, and it's good, and there's not a drop of blood, but people like me still like it. And as we talked about earlier, this is one of those very early movies that got me into horror, so obviously lots of nostalgia there. And it holds up. I didn't know. I hadn't seen it in a long time. Didn't know how I was going to feel about it. Seeing, like, I mean, God, if I could put a number of how many new horror movies I've seen since the last time I've seen this, it would be staggering.
Hundreds.
But it was,
Dude, we've watched
Millions.
hundreds in the last year of doing this podcast.
That's actually true.
and I still really fucking like it, and it's still scary. It still brings me back to this place, and it makes me scared now that we're here. And I give this an 85, and I probably would have rated it higher the first time I saw it years and years and years
It's
ago.
fucking scary, though, actually, right? It's like
Yes.
effective as a horror
Yeah.
movie. It's
Scary.
Yeah.
fucking good.
And like the one, what's his name, Mike, that like screams a lot, and you were talking about how like some people would scream, and that's what I would do. I would
Yeah.
scream, and I'd lose all my energy and die.
Yeah.
And
Honestly,
that's,
when you
fear.
don't have water and you don't have food, and then you start to panic when you start to realize that.
And now I'm thinking about this hike tomorrow, and it's like, oh God, it's
Yeah.
scary.
Are you feeling like Josh?
Yeah, I'm just gonna be screaming a lot.
You signed up for like a planned excursion, right?
When Josh
Yes.
is laying underneath that tree and he's like, "Yeah, you guys just tell him I'm here next to this tree with the vine."
Yep.
Fuck, it's like I get that. You know what I mean?
I
In
mean,
a way.
yeah. No, for real. Like you haven't eaten in a couple days. Like you have not sleeping and you're being
Ugh.
pursued.
I'll be here. Figure it out.
It's fucking terrifying.
Rob?
Yeah, this is a good flick. Could echo everything else Bill said. Done very well on the budget that they used, and things are very believable because a lot of it is real reaction. And I feel like because it is people in the woods, like, yeah, it's like dated, like the camera quality of the video, and also I think some of the actors that were actually doing the shooting like weren't as that familiar with those cameras, so the first couple of shots are grainier and like out of focus and stuff, but that just adds to like the, I don't know, verisimilitude of it or whatever. But overall, you gotta watch this movie. Like, I'm serious. Like, this is like it is like Texas Chainsaw
Hell yeah.
or Dracula or Nosferatu, or like
But
it's like in that pantheon of like you have to watch it. So I'm gonna give it 82.
Damn.
Damn.
Like, I don't know, man. I'm like a big fan of like a tight story
smoke is
and
bad.
like just nothing. There's no fat. You know,
82 minutes. They banged it out.
they banged it out, and it doesn't even feel quick. Like it's kind of a slow burn.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I spent some
man.
time getting to know the characters at first.
Yeah. I think also too, like just being here in this tent with
There's
my
three of-
bros.
there's
There's
three of
three of it,
us,
just
there's
the
three
three
of them.
musketeers. Maybe that helped me shed all of the like pre-perception of like what I thought this movie was going to be, and like being freaked out for it, or not being it, or whatever, because it feels like kind of like what you said, Bill. It feels like we're just like you could be videotaping us, and that it would look the same.
Right.
Yeah.
We're just like a lot cuter.
Yes.
Yeah.
It wouldn't really be that scary because it'd be distracting of how cute we all were
Yeah.
on film.
Well, that's what happens when you got three fucking good-looking dudes in union suits drinking fucking
Goosed up in union suits.
scotch out of fucking tin cups.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
I drank a whole pint of vodka.
You did
Oh my
house a
gosh.
pint of Phillips vodka. Shout
your-
out to fucking Fargo, North Dakota.
and your pants paid the
My
price.
pants paid the price.
Yeah, fuck.
I just bought those like 8 years ago. Yeah. So yeah, Bill, Michael.
I tend to either rate things pretty high or pretty low. And you know that I like this movie, so you can already imagine that I'm going to maybe even
Do pretty high?
give it a higher rating than a lot of people might, because I this thing fucking hits nostalgic tones for me. And honestly, what can I say that I haven't already said? People are gonna hate it, but fucking 91. This is an all timer.
Damn.
This is an all timer. This is one of my landmark horror films, and it's even more impressive with how little they had, not only in terms of money, but in terms of knowledge. Like you said, like they didn't know what they were doing or filming or
Yeah,
how to
like
use
in
the equipment,
talent.
and it made it better. This is one of those things that can never be replicated, has often been imitated, and whatever comes close to it again in the future will be wildly revolutionary for its time. And maybe I'd make the argument that was Paranormal Activity. And so we're waiting for the next one.
Every
But
20
fuck,
years.
Paranormal Activity was a banger too. Like when that shit came out, I was like, honestly, to me, Paranormal Activity and the Blair Witch Project and The Exorcist are the three movies that have actually fucked me up, like scared me, like actually
Exorcist
scared
fucked me up
alone
bad.
at night thinking about it. And the difference between The Exorcist and Paranormal Activity and Blair Witch Project is Paranormal Activity came out when I was fucking like 19 years old. The Exorcist and Blair Witch Project, I saw those before I was 10, and they
Yeah.
fucking terrified me. All of those movies, when I revisit them, I would say Paranormal Activity is the least scary, and The Exorcist and Blair Witch Project still pull at me. I don't know if that's because they're more well done, or if that's because I remind myself of the fear I had as a child, or if now when I look at Paranormal Activity, I'm like, yeah, I was like fucking blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it was, but this one's still effective. It's still a landmark. It's one that I'll continue to go back to, and like, I think that there's a certain fan that will always appreciate this movie, and I look forward to having conversations with those fans about this movie, because it's one that I will continue to talk about and watch for the rest of my life. Not every year at all, because it's not one of those movies that has that rewatchability.
No.
But it's really fun to watch it with somebody who's never seen it before. And thank you, because I haven't done that in a decade
Yeah, that's
plus.
crazy.
So that was cool. And someone who was primed for it, someone who might appreciate it. And you did.
Someone that did and enjoy it.
Yeah, I kind of do look forward to, and also sometimes dread those films that like you guys saw when they came out, and it's been 10, 15, 20 years, and
Yeah.
I hadn't. And I don't know. It's always interesting.
Yeah.
We all have those movies.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
when we first started hanging out, you guys were like, you've never seen Your Next, you gotta watch Your Next. And I was like, yeah, okay, I guess. And then like another month of, you gotta watch Your Next. You haven't seen that yet? It's like fucking 10 years old already. You gotta watch it. And then I was like, put it on. I was like, fuck, this shit is bad. But sometimes you get left,
You do, man.
left wanting more, or it doesn't live up to the hype. And I really had fears that this one wouldn't live up to the hype, just because like I didn't know how much of it was the dangling carrot of like, is this real? And like having that spoiled from the jump, I didn't know if you were just gonna be like, yeah, this is 3 kids in the woods screaming at each other.
Yeah.
I mean, spoiler, I'm in my 30s now, and any movie I see, I just assume is fake.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I know what you mean, though. Like, back then, like, that wasn't a genre of horror movies.
And people were dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, the internet
People
Or
were
willing.
fucking
They were
dumb.
willing.
provided a lot of transparency.
Willing to believe.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Yeah, what a good flick. Good pick.
Yeah. I mean,
Made sense.
I won't take any credit for it because it kind of fell in our lap to just, we
We were
camping
thinking
trip.
about
Let's
a
fucking.
night movie to do here, and yeah,
This
Yeah,
one
we
made
all
sense.
equally planned
once
this
it came
camping
up,
trip.
it made sense.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, that puts us in a kind of a weird spot because typically this is where we would announce next week's movie, but we're actually going to spend the entire next episode announcing movies, I believe.
I think that might be the case.
Halloween Blitz coming up.
That's right.
31
that's right,
Days
that's
of Horror.
right.
You know it. You love it. I hope you don't know it too much because we're completely changing the format.
Yeah, it's
But
your
it's gonna
favorite
be
time of the year,
better.
and to be honest, it fucking sucks for us. We got full-time jobs, and
It's
we
for
gotta do
you.
it every day.
It's for you,
It's
Elmer.
for you,
It's all
Elmer.
for you.
October is a fun chore every year.
Yeah,
It's
because not only do
definitely
we
a
watch
chore.
31 fucking movies, but like we also like horror themed events such as like Halloween parties and everything else that goes on this time of year that people invite us to because we're those guys. But it's like, sorry,
Don't have
I
time.
have 28 more movies to watch this month.
One movie a day sounds like no problemo when you're thinking about it, and when you're on
you get to
day
it?
7.
Yeah,
you're like,
of
this is
year fucking 8.
crazy
I'll tell
of
you
year.
right now.
Yeah,
like,
because I've been doing it for a few years before the pod,
No,
not like a
never for
long
me.
time, but like this will probably be my 4th year.
yeah, I've been doing it for
And you've
like
probably been
like
doing it the
almost a
longest.
decade, like 8 years. I've been
That's
doing this shit.
crazy. Yeah.
Last year was my first year. It's like competitive eating. Like, I don't want to do it. Don't make me.
Oh
It's
man,
so much, but we're gonna have fun, and we'll explain it more what the new format is when we do
the announcement
when we talk
episode.
about the movies.
But yeah,
next week.
basically, you're gonna get 3 of us on air for an hour plus. We're gonna shoot the shit. We're gonna tell you what movies we're picking so that you can watch them along with us throughout the month. And every week, we're gonna come back and do an episode covering a handful of movies. So
And
we'll explain it all next week. But keep your eyes and ears open for that because if you want to subject yourself to 31 fucking horror movies that we pick, we'll have a list up for you
The announcement
this time next week.
Yeah.
We're doing a live draft,
By
right?
then.
We're gonna do a live draft, but
Yeah,
we'll
that's
have
what
to
I'm
have the
saying.
movies posted.
Announcement, do not miss it, folks. It's going to be fucking fun because we do not know what we're watching yet, and we are not finding out until live on air next week when
That's
we do
true.
the round robin pick, whatever we calling it.
Yep. So have your backups
The
in the wing.
announcement
It's gonna
is
be
live
fun.
for everybody.
It's gonna be a really fun episode. It's gonna be a really funny episode. Lots of like you picked that. I was gonna pick that.
Lots of
oh,
organization, I'm sure.
like, yeah.
Lots of hash browns.
Lots of shouting over each other.
Waffles, pancakes, scissorps.
Over ease. Bacon sauce.
Ovaries.
Over easy. Also
I know.
that, I guess, yeah.
Chopped, top, smothered, covered.
Covered. Brothered.
Anyway, with that, I guess
It is
we'll
getting
pick
fucking
up.
cold.
Yeah, fucking
Yeah,
A.
let's make some s'mores and go to bed.
Let's make some s'mores.
yeah.
Yeah, no, don't put another log on because I want to. We'll
Okay,
make
okay,
s'mores
okay.
and then we'll kill it and we'll go to bed and then we gotta wake up early for this hike. Woo! So I mean, fuck Elmers. Thanks for sticking out with us. We camp so you don't have to. We know a lot of our neck-bearded listeners don't get outside, and to be honest, we don't blame you. This shit's scary out here. It's cold, and
cold.
there's no fucking TV.
We're gonna get eaten by
So
bears.
tune in next week. Oh, Backcountry. Have you guys seen that? So
I
you're gonna get
watched
eaten by
it
bears.
before we
No.
got out here. It's
Fuck.
freaky.
Elmers. Shit. We'll get into it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Pull up with us, watch 2 films. Come on, watch 2 films. If you scared, don't come over here. 13 M. 13 M. 13 M. 13th Elm.